Three-word phrasal verbs. That is what I want to teach you today in order to help you supercharge your vocabulary. And if you like building your vocabulary, please subscribe, turn on notifications. That way I can become your teacher. My name is Wes. The channel is Interactive English. It's all about trying to help you reach your fluency goals, and I love helping you build your vocabulary because it's such an important part of the way we communicate. And phrasal verbs are very common in just casual conversation. And if you would like to access the lesson notes right here, join my email community. Click on the link in the description. If you're already a part of the community, don't worry, I'll send them to you. So this is very useful as far as just casual conversation goes because phrasal verbs are a little bit more informal, and I want to look at some that I think are pretty common as far as three-word phrasal verbs go. And that's why I said these are some that you should know. So first, let's start out like what are phrasal verbs and like the building blocks. Basically, you have the verb plus, instead of just one particle, two particles. And I've given you this example, look forward to, and the meaning down below. If you look forward to something, you're just excited about a future event. And this, I thought, was a little funny mug talking about 40 and things to look forward to. And yeah, they're just some kind of, I'll try to share with you some funny and humorous jokes or images, just because I think it does make learning that much more captivating if you can find some humor in it. Now, of course, this is a quiz lesson. I would love you to participate. Write your answers in the chat, in the comments, because after all, this is Interactive English. So to start out, I am giving you a sentence, but I've taken away the verb. So you have the verb plus two particles, but I'm not giving you the main verb. I'm not interested in going to the party this weekend. I just don't up to it. So the phrasal verb, the blank verb plus up to. So that together makes the entire three-word phrasal verb. I just don't to it, up to it. So think about the context. You're not interested in something. You don't, I almost gave it away. You just would say, look, I just don't, what? What verb would be missing? And I feel like as I keep talking, I just mentioned the verb because the answer is to feel up to it. I don't feel up to it. And the meaning is to, you have the strength or energy to do something. I will point out that just like this example, I think often people may use it to talk about something they don't have the strength to do. And in that case, you would say, yeah, I just don't feel up to it, or he or she is not feeling up to doing something. All right. Excellent. Great job, everyone. Lolly, well done. Great to see you. Now, one resource that I wanted to point out, and I was going to play it for you, but I was having some technical difficulties, is Youglish. So there are other, there are different sites that you can use if you would like to see how these words and phrases are used in context. Youglish is one of them. You can put in feel up to, and then it gives you different videos in which somebody is using the phrase, the idiom, the vocabulary word, and it just reinforces the meaning. So again, I was going to play it for you. I'll get it working at some point just to provide you some more examples. What do you think of this one? We should have away with this department years ago because the company has been losing a lot of money. So the three-word phrasal verb, we're missing the verb, but the two particles away with. To away with this department years ago because the company has been losing money. We should have what? What is the main verb that is missing as part of this three-word phrasal verb? Again, write your answers in the comments, in the chats. Now, if I really wanted to get specific and I'm looking for the precise response, think about the verb tense. All right, you're using that modal. We should have what? So the missing verb in this case is done, done away with, or the phrasal verb to do away with something. If you do away with something, you're just getting rid of it. You stop using it. We should have done away with this department years ago because the company has been losing a lot of money. All right, well done, Joanne, Julia, Fabio. Just give some quick shout outs. To give you a little more context, here are some news headlines. This is another resource that I'll use from time to time to show you how the word or phrase is used. So here are some news headlines. U.S. News World Report, college rankings should do away with peer assessment and just get rid of it. Trump trying to do away with every check and balance ahead of second term. I feel like a lot of the election stuff, anytime I look for news articles, there's always some political, something political. Pharmacists urge public to do away with older antibiotic medications, and they want them to do away with it to get rid of it. And then finally, House lawmaker wants to do away with Pentagon's CMMC program. I am not familiar with that program, but a lawmaker wants the Pentagon to do away with it. How about the next question? I haven't found time to fix the door. I'll around to it eventually. What is the missing verb? And with all of these phrases, I think these are phrasal verbs that are commonly used. Now, they have a specific meaning, and in this case, I'm giving you a context, which I think often somebody would end up using this three-word phrasal verb. I'll around to it eventually. So you would use this when talking about something that you are supposed to do or that you need to do, and you're having this conversation, like in the example, and say, I haven't found time to fix the door. I'll get around to it eventually. And you get around to doing something. So in that case, it means to do something that you have intended to do for a long time. Very useful in conversation. Somebody asks, did you do it? And you say, well, I haven't gotten around to it. Or I'll get around to it tomorrow. I'll get around to it eventually. And you always hear that get around to, get around to, get around to. And that is why I thought this was kind of funny. Talking about somebody who maybe procrastinates and it's like, yeah, I've been meaning to do it, but I'll get around to it. So here is an example. This is kind of like a gag gift, a joke that you can buy, and that is a round to it. I don't know what, then there is no the real meaning of to it, but just thinking of this is a round to it. I am going to get around to it. And now you can also get around to it. And if somebody says, wait, where is this? Like, I got around to it. Here's the next one. Parents may up on their kids to make sure they're doing their homework. I think this is true. You have kids who are in school. You want to make sure that they're working hard. They're doing the things that they should be doing. For example, their homework. And from time to time, you may up on your kids. There is a verb missing here. Which verb is best going to complete this? To up on their kids. Well done, Anissa Talal. We're talking about the verb check, to check up on someone. Parents may check up on their kids to make sure that they're doing their homework. If you check up on someone, you're discovering what are they doing? Just to make sure that they're doing what they should be doing, but also to see how someone is. So this phrasal verb, this three-word phrasal verb, I think it does have a positive connotation. It's good when you check up on someone else and make sure they're doing what they should be doing, or that everything's okay. And you want to check up on your friend or your colleague, or you check up on a family member. I think we should never forget the people who take time out of their day to check up on you. Anytime someone says, hey, I'm just calling to see how you're doing, how are things, and they're just, checking up on you, making sure that everything is all right. Like I said, it does have more of a positive connotation. Here is the next question. It's just you and me. We need to out for each other. And we have that 3-word phrasal verb, out for. This is a little bit of a shout out to the TV show Supernatural, in case you're wondering, like, who are these people? This is one of my wife's favorite shows. I was never much of a fan, but just to, give a little shout out, she really loved this show when it was out. So it's about 2 brothers, and it's just the 2 of them. So it fits this situation. We need to out for each other. Now, the missing verb that I hope that as you see this, it's like, okay, you can kind of put it together, is look. To look out for each other. So if you look out for someone, you're just making sure that that person is treated well, that they're being taken care of, and you're just looking out for another person. Now, one thing I want to say about this 3-word phrasal verb, we talked about, positive connotation, negative connotation. If you are looking out for someone else, I think it does have more of a positive connotation. I am looking out for you because I want to make sure that you are learning new things, building your vocabulary, and it is more positive. I'm going to look out, like in the example sentence, I'm going to look out for my younger brother. If you're using it with a reflexive pronoun, I'm looking out for myself, in that case, it has more of a negative connotation, that you only want what is best for you. So if we're using it with that reflexive pronoun, it's more negative. He's only looking out for himself. She's only looking out for herself. Or I'm only looking out for myself. Something to keep in mind with this phrasal verb. I like that picture of the kitten right there. I don't think I'll be able to up to my mother's expectations. We have the missing verb plus the 2 particles up to. Up to my mother's expectations. A key word in this sentence is expectations, because this is a collocation with this 3-word phrasal verb. I don't think I'll ever be able to up to my mother's expectations. And yeah, that cat looks like it just has that look in their eye, like, oh no, how am I ever going to be able to live up to my mother's expectations? Well done. Be happy, Julia. Nice. So if you live up to something, it's basically to do as well as or good as other people expect. And I just said that a common collocation with this 3-word phrasal verb is expectation, to live up to someone's expectations and really, do meet that standard of what they expect of you, to live up to. Here is the next one. She is not going to up with his nonsense anymore. She's not going to up with his nonsense anymore. Hopefully, I think maybe it's a little easier. This is, like I said, these are common phrases. She's not going to up with his nonsense anymore. So we have the verb followed by up with is our 3-word phrasal verb. So the verb that's missing, the one that I hope that you can think of or that you thought of as you're reading this sentence, is put up with. Again, I think this is a common 3-word phrasal verb that you're going to hear movies, TV shows. You'll read it in a story or a news article. Well done, Lolly, Orlando, Manuel, to put up with. To accept, to basically accept or continue to accept something, some unpleasant situation or experience. To put up with something or put up with someone. Here's another fun little joke. It's not you, it's me and my lack of desire to put up with your shit anymore. So this is a fun little joke using this 3-word phrasal verb, to put up with someone or to put up with someone's crap. So let's make it maybe a little more challenging. Now I'm, blanking out the 3 words. So the 3-word phrasal verb is missing, but I'm giving you the meaning down below. So perhaps giving you the meaning as well as the sentence, the context, you can think of the appropriate 3-word phrasal verb to complete the sentence. After struggling with his grades, he decided to school. The meaning of this phrasal verb is to not do something that you were going to do, or you just you stop doing it before you finish. And this we're starting out a little easy because I feel like probably you'll get this. You've heard this before. It is common, especially when talking about school or education. And if you stop going, in this case, you might drop out of school. After struggling with his grades, he decided to drop out of school. Excellent. Ail, what do we have? Johan, Hakeem, nice. So one thing I wanted to share when it comes to this, I wanted to share with you some common collocations. Collocations are words that are frequently used together. So if we have our three-word phrasal verb, drop out of, well, what are some things that people may drop out of? They drop out of school. They drop out of university, drop out of college, or maybe you drop out of a competition or drop out of a race. So those are some common nouns that may get used with this three-word phrasal verb, to drop out of something. Well played. Here's another little follow-up, another little joke. This is why people drop out of school. It says, sorry, that's not correct. The correct answer is 14, and your answer is 14. And people get frustrated, they're done with it, and maybe they drop out. Again, this is just a little good humor using this phrasal verb to drop out of. What do you think about this one? You're not going to this. Giving you the picture maybe is a little bit of a hint. And the meaning of this three-word phrasal verb is to succeed in avoiding punishment for something. And I'm using it in the negative, and I'm telling somebody, look, you're not gonna this. Maybe something gets stolen, and I'm chasing after the person, and I'm yelling this. You're not gonna this. This three-word phrasal verb is another one that's very common. I feel like you've heard it before, especially when I show you the answer. I feel like then sometimes that light bulb goes off, and it's like, oh, yes, I know this phrase. I've heard it before. And in this case, we're talking about to get away with. You're not going to get away with this. I'm sure you've heard maybe this in movies, TV shows. Somebody would say this to the bad guy. You're not going to get away with this. You're not going to avoid punishment. You're not going to get away with this. Here's an example of it being used. This is actually the title of a TV show. I'm not really familiar with it. I've heard it before because I feel like it's pretty popular, pretty well known. How to Get Away with Murder, but how to get away with something and avoid that punishment. Get away with. What do you think? This is a news article. I told you that when I look for news examples, it seems like everything's still political, even though the U.S. election is over. Some Harris rally attendees, this is the three-word phrasal verb, it's missing, heat in Houston, we're talking about Houston, Texas, taken to the hospital. So this was a situation at a rally. Texas is a very hot state. So some Harris rally attendees, heat in Houston, taken to hospital. This was the result after they, three-word phrasal verb, the heat. Now the meaning is to become unconscious for a short period of time due to something. And well, in this case, we're talking about due to the heat. What three-word phrasal verb is often used? Now, sometimes it could be used as a two-word phrasal verb and you become unconscious. And in this case, we're using it as a three-word phrasal verb because we're specifying the something. Someone became unconscious due to this thing, due to the heat. So the phrase that we're missing here, I think got some close answers, but not quite, is pass out from. When you pass out from something, you become unconscious for a short period of time. So to pass out is to become unconscious, to faint. If I wanted to add more information, I can then use the other particle from, to pass out from the heat. Here are some other examples down here. If I just Googled like things that you might pass out from, and it just gives you a list down here. You could pass out from low blood pressure. You could pass out from alcohol. You could pass out from, what else do we have here? Hyperventilation. You could pass out from anxiety. So these are just a list of some things that a person could pass out from. What do you think? In the US, when you turn 18, it is not uncommon for some kids to the house. I know that culturally this is perhaps a little different from other countries because 18, it's still considered young. But in the US, when you turn 18, it is not uncommon for some kids to the house. We're talking about a 3-word phrasal verb that means to stop living or occupying a particular place. Most of the time, it does have to do with the home or the house, but not always. It could be some other, you could use this 3-word phrasal verb to talk about something else. And in this case, I would say that in the US, it is not uncommon for some kids to move out of the house. You move out of some place, in this case, the house or the home, you just stop living there. Excellent. Lolly, Macy, Joanne, well played. So here is the next one, and this is a real picture of our home some time ago. I'm constantly having to my little girl. All right, you can see all those toys there. They're kind of scattered everywhere. It can make a little bit of a mess. And in order to clean, this is what I would say. I would say this sentence to you. Oh, I'm constantly having to my little girl. I think parents do this when they have kids, especially when they're younger. And the meaning of this 3-word phrasal verb is to just clean a mess that's created by someone else. And you are going to that person. So in this case, I'm the one who's cleaning this mess that you see on the table. Now she's older, so she does help a little bit, but I'm constantly having to my little girl. So I will say there are maybe a couple of different verbs that you could use. There's one that I was going for. Clean up after it, that would work as well. You're cleaning the mess. You clean up after someone. There is another verb that you could use that has that same meaning. If I did not want to use clean as the main verb, I see a lot of answers. Everybody's like, oh, clean up after, clean up after. That is correct. I could say that. I'm constantly having to clean up after my little girl. However, the verb that I was looking for, which has this meaning, is also pick up after. To pick up after someone is just cleaning a mess that someone has made. Just to clarify, again, if you want to say clean up after, that also works. But to pick up after someone is you are cleaning up that mess. To give you some fun examples, sometimes you might see these signs when people are out, they're walking their dog, and here are some signs. Please pick up after your dog. Poop pollutes. Or attention dog owners, please pick up after your dog. Thank you. Attention dogs, grr, ruff, woof, woof, good day. Good dog. Or this one I like over there in the far corner. Dear dog, please make certain your owner is always attached with a leash and is properly trained to pick up after you. Thank you. So you could even in these contexts use clean up, but I think it is common when you want to talk about cleaning up after someone to pick up after your dog, to pick up after your kid. Excellent. Well done. All right. Great job, Rafaela. Good to see you. Excellent. How about this one? I'm going to give you a movie recommendation too. If you are, I'm into education. This is not about language education. It has to do with math. But the movie, Stand and Deliver, it is an older movie, is about a math teacher who refused to his students. The meaning of this 3-word phrasal verb is to expect someone or something to fail. So if you expect something to fail, then what are you? You are this thing. So keep in mind that in this case, I'm using it, well, this is being used in the negative. Somebody refused to do this, which means that they refused for these students to fail. So the movie Stand and Deliver is about a math teacher who refused to his students. And the answer is to give up on. You refuse to give up on someone. I believe in you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to stay with you. I got your back. And I refuse to give up on you. And that is true. I'm not going to give up on you guys. So this movie it's about math for the most part. It is a good movie. It is it's an education movie. I mean, mostly because it's about a math teacher. And I believe this is a true story from a long time ago. This person just refused to give up on his students. This is a picture of the movie Stand and Deliver. You can see a very young Lou Diamond Phillips sitting in the desk there, who plays the role of a student, which shows you just how old this movie is. I believe it's from the 80s, maybe, but not a bad movie. You can check it out. How about this one? If you, your job, it may be difficult to find another. If you, your job, it may be difficult to find another. It means to stop doing something that you have agreed to do before it is completed. What phrasal verb, what three-word phrasal verb fits this situation? If you your job, it may be difficult to find another one. That you're just going to stop doing something that, well, you've agreed to do. So the answer in this case, and maybe the picture is a little bit of a hint, but the three-word phrasal verb that is missing is to walk out on. This one may be a little trickier, but in this context, if you walk out on something, in this case your job, then you just stop doing it before this agreed upon period. And you're just going to walk out on your job. You're going to walk out on your company. Or if you walk out on someone, then you're leaving and it's done. It's over. And you walk out on someone or something, to walk out on. How about, to give you a little more context, again, hopefully this helps when you see some of these new news headlines. So the first one, Black Friday strike, Amazon workers in UK and US to walk out on busiest shopping day of the year. And they're going to walk out on it and just, stop doing it. Turkish lawmakers, others, walk out on Israel at Geneva meeting. And they just walk out on, in this case, the country or the representatives. And then finally, Trump supporters walk out on MAGA rally before it ends. So, and they leave and they walk out on this thing that's going on, this event. Here is a little review, some of the phrasal verbs that we were talking about. Again, I think they're commonly used. They're great for casual conversation. And of course, right now, I would like to know how you did. Again, if you want to get these lesson notes, check out the link down below in the description. And I just want you to continue building your vocabulary a little at a time. If you enjoyed the lesson and learned something new, please hit that like button. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.